Hey, what's good, everybody? This is the Two Preachers in the Popcorn Box podcast. We just so happen to be two preachers who love movies almost as much as we love Jesus. I am Brian, your host, and with me, my co-host.
DT, what's happening, people? What to do?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, listen, thank you guys so much for tuning into today's episode. If you happen to be watching us live right now, whether it be on Facebook Live or on YouTube, please do me a favor. Share this episode. Tell your mama, tell your pappy, tell your cousin, auntie, all of them that we are live at this particular moment. All right, so today we are discussing the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It looks like Disney Plus has another smash on their hands. Of course, you know, we talked about WandaVision in the last episode, and so we're just going to ride this Marvel train on out until they miss, and they typically hadn't been missing lately. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. As of yesterday, episode 5 has been released, and like we always say, if you haven't watched the episode, you're bad. Ain't nothing we can do about this at this particular time, all right?
Nope.
Because we gonna talk about it.
Yep.
We're gonna talk about it for sure. All right. So before we dive right on in, Derek or DT, what was your expectations coming into the Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
A lot more bombs. People getting blown up, shot. So my expectations have been met. That it's Falcon and Winter Soldier, so I expected a lot more from them versus WandaVision. Because it's those two together. I love the chemistry of them two. I think they did well. Anthony Mackie and Sebastian did an awesome job playing these roles to the point that it is ridiculous. I love that type of chemistry that they got. So I was really looking for all of that, man. The chemistry between the actors, how strong the acting scenes were going to be, where they're going to reveal some stuff that I had no idea that existed in the MCU.
Yeah.
Or what they were going to jack up that's in the MCU, or Marvel Comics, or however you want to rock it. So it was cool. It was good.
Good deal.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the episodes in order, and then we'll talk about what we think is going to happen for episode 6, and then have some fun along the way. All right. So episode 1 opens with something that I didn't initially expect, especially not from the jump, that Falcon was going to give up his shield, Captain America's shield, from the jump. And so it's something that, and this might be a little controversial, but it was literally the first thing I thought about whenever Falcon gave up Cap's shield. I said, if you don't value what you have, they'll always go and give it to a white boy.
Wow.
Literally, that was the first thing I thought about, because we know from the end of Endgame that Cap gave the shield to Falcon, and what we've learned in the series, and what I think Falcon understood but didn't quite understand the full gravity of is that there's weight and responsibility with the shield. And I think from the very, very beginning, um, Falcon didn't understand or didn't really grasp what the shield represented, and he felt like he couldn't measure up to it. And so he was like, "Hey, I think it's better in the hands of the government." And of course, we know what happens a little bit later. But before I go there, like it or not, there is weight associated with titles and symbols, right? So Cap's shield is a symbol for the entire country, right? It's something that you hear throughout the entire series about how it represents more than what the person represented almost. And so that's why I titled this particular episode today Character Over Titles, because you see this throughout the entire series about how the symbolism or the title that people have, there's weight that people don't always understand whenever you get these titles or whenever you have these symbols in your life.
I think depends on the person. I don't know if necessarily the symbol. I think the character behind the person with the symbol solidifies a lot.
True.
Uh, every time you start something, I want to go somewhere, and it jumps all over the place. You can't be doing that because I'm not doing it. I'm gonna let it be because I get excited about because I really want to say something, but I'm not since you did the whole
Okay,
titles
so
and
the title
symbols.
that then. I didn't mean to jump ahead, but it's
You
one of the
you
first things
you
I thought about.
you did because you skipped all over other places and you did what you wanted to do. Ain't nobody ever tell you was grown. You still learning, son. Slow down. Over here showing that. I know you love the Lord. Stop being high on Jesus over there. Come on back down. So go on, cause I'm finna
Okay,
get.
so um, Falcon gives up the shield, and he thinks that the government, is going to take care of it properly, and so he goes and follows this mission, and he hears this report of strong, empowered people, or actually, he didn't even know that they were super soldiers at the time. But there's this group called the Flag Smashers that are causing, ruckus and havoc. And so he goes to investigate this. And like you mentioned earlier, with the dynamic and the relationship between Bucky and the Falcon, from the very, very jump, I thought it was hilarious how they really didn't like each other, but they respected each other at the
Right.
beginning, right? And so you see the irritation about how they didn't really want to work together, but they also recognize that this other person has strengths that could help in getting the job done. Um, and so I'm trying to get you. Don't want me to go
No, no,
forward,
no.
but
Do your part. I'm just, you the host. I'm the co-host. You do you. I follow your lead, but I'm telling you, you keep on cracking these windows and these doors. I'm about to kick one of them through. So go ahead. Say what you
okay.
got to say.
Funny. So one of the funniest things is the big three. Whenever Bucky and Falcon are in the warehouse getting ready to go to investigate, the the flag smashers, they have this discourse about everybody that they fought so far falls within the big three: androids, aliens, and wizards, right? And when you think about Marvel, that is the history of, with the exception of maybe, well, no, all of the movies with the exception of maybe the original Captain America, it's fallen in the big three. And so that's why this particular series was a little weird, because you're thinking that you're going to be fighting one of these big three, and so far that hadn't been the case.
Well, maybe not, because we
I
still
said
don't
so
know.
far, man.
Oh, oh, my bad. I didn't catch that part. My bad. You're right. You're right. Good job. Good job. Excuse me. My bad. You're right.
So another thing near the end of episode 1 that I noticed is that John Walker has a very punchable face. He
I'm gonna
did.
pray
Like
your
whenever
strength
they
in the Lord. How
revealed
you
him
just
at the
gonna
end.
how you just gonna walk up to somebody? You know, I just want to punch you in your face. The Lord says, "Vengeance is mine, sir." He says, "Being angry, but sin not." I'm gonna need you to do something about that
But
temper or
you
something.
realize though,
It's just
anybody
cool.
that
How you gonna?
replaces an icon, especially Captain America, he already had to show it in of the stick to begin with, right?
But you saying replacing Cap? You know, we replacing Cap. Cap is replaced. You know, but you just automatically just you want to punch Mr. Walker in the face. I mean, you
Look,
want to. Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you want to punch him prior to the serum or after the serum?
oh, prior to literally,
Oh, you.
whenever, okay, because at the end of episode 1,
I'm gonna pray for you,
whenever
boy.
Falcon's sister said, "Hey, you need to see this," right? Because I didn't know that the government was going to give the shield to somebody else. I had assumed that the government was going to be, on the up and up. Assumed again.
Excuse
This is
me.
me being
Excuse me.
foolish.
Excuse me.
And so
How
then,
I got a question for not to cut
yes,
you off because you were so much on roll. You said you figured the government was on the up and up.
look, I didn't think,
Have you
you know,
watched a Marvel movie? The Accords. I'm just saying, mutant registration.
look, I
Uh,
was trying to
just
give Falcon the benefit of the doubt and hope he made no mistake. That's what I was hoping, right?
even let's go.
Come on.
You said you thought the government was gonna do right. Why the flag smashers are fighting, sir? Why the flag smashers was fighting?
Yeah, their original cause for fighting is because there were supplies that should have gone to the people that the government was hoarding, and they was like, "Hey, that ain't right."
Right when everybody came back, the
Mm-hmm.
government because the world was Thanos' plan
After the
unfortunately
blip.
worked. Thanos' plan works. The world was becoming one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then once they came back, I think it was a GCP. I can't think of the letters, kind of fuzzy.
Yeah, GCP.
Came in, and all of those people that were on one accord and finally getting on a place and had a place and felt like they were at home, all of a sudden were kicked out. So no, the government ain't no, not it, no, no. So that's why we got the flag smashers because the government in the Marvel universe
Yeah.
uh didn't do the people right. Go ahead. I just wanted to share
So
that.
my expectation was one, Falcon is gonna have the shield and he gonna do what he gonna do. He gives up the shield. So I'm like, okay, I don't really agree with that, but hey, let's see how this go out. Then, whenever the press conference comes out and the great value Captain America is
Oh
revealed,
wow, not the great value, bruh.
yes,
Not the great.
we're gonna call him great value Cap for the
Wow,
rest of the
you've
episode.
been practicing on that one. You couldn't wait to get there. You couldn't. You
You know I got it in my notes.
you did.
Oh,
You bounced that off at least three people for you.
listen.
That's jacked up.
And then the great value Cap come with the shield, and I just like, oh, why they do that? Right? So yeah, so from that moment on, I felt like he had a punchable face. But episode 2, we kind of get a little bit of his backstory. So I don't really have as much angst toward him, but I'm still looking at him sideways. Okay?
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
um one of the things that he that is unveiled with his story is that he's a decorated army veteran, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so what you see is, although he has all of these accolades, that doesn't really equate to you being the man, right? So accolades, awards, and acclaim doesn't make you, right? It doesn't, that shouldn't be who you um, identify with. And I think this is the inner struggle with great value cap. That's his that is his internal struggle throughout the entire series.
Woo! You and this great value cap, dog. I keep thinking of every time you say that, I keep thinking of the cereal kabooms. Just sad, just pitiful. Like
The
he just got
bag cereal, bro.
he just got cornflake on the box and no ingredients. This is a white box with cornflake written in black letters. I have never heard you be like this with these people. We're gonna have a prayer vigil for you when the podcast's over. Cause I didn't never know you had this side of you, bro. I guess we find out about people. How you gonna you want to punch John
Great.
Walker? Because I can't really call him a great value. Because that means he has value. He really didn't. So just saying. No, no. I mean, I agree with you. But for us to be used to Cap,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and Chris Evans, Cap, the one that we used to, and the whole switch and change. Of course, it's uncomfortable. That was uncomfortable. It filled a hole, but it really didn't fill a hole. And then you could see his hesitation going into the role when his friend, aka Battlestar,
Yeah.
had to go and calm him down. That to me was already the biggest red flag starting off
Right.
because of his uncomfortableness with stepping into the role of being, Captain America, the
Mm-hmm.
symbol of America,
Mm-hmm.
the symbol of justice, peace, and all those other wonderful adjectives we could use to validate his character. But like you mentioned earlier, because his um accolades opened the door, but his psyche was damaged
From the beginning.
from the beginning. So people got to pump you up and encourage you, this, that, and the other. You having your own internal struggle with the suit, not even anything with the suit. So automatically was already defeated. So, that triggered a whole bunch of other stuff. But, that's, John Walker. Not gonna
Great
go.
value cap. So one
You gonna
one
put your
really
hands in the
great
air.
thing one really great thing that we discovered in this episode, that there were some black super soldiers um, in Bucky and Captain America's day, but obviously because of them being black, and they didn't receive the same opportunities as Bucky and Cap. And one thing I appreciate about this show is that it didn't shy away from the uncomfortable truths of real black people in
Yeah.
this time, and them being able to correlate that and unveil that in the particular series. So um, you know, it was really heartbreaking, that scene whenever and his name escapes me now.
Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah, Bradley, right. Um, and so, he has been living in his own world, separate from super soldiers, from um, Avengers, superheroes, all of that. And so, whenever, Bucky and the Falcon come to get additional information as to, hey, um, there's these new super soldiers in town. I believe that is Hydra. Bucky says, I just need some more information from you. What do you know? And he's like, look, this has damaged my entire life. You see the anger, you see the suppressed rage, right? Like he wants to explode, but you see that because of the mistreatment, you're like, yo, you need to get out of my house because you bringing up all of this trauma. And so that particular scene opened my eyes because, again, I'm not the hugest comic head, so I wasn't familiar with Bradley's role in the comics. I got to go back and read that.
It's pretty significant because it talks about his struggle. If you ever get into it, it's a lot of the background, and actually there are people because of him that have become Avengers. Uh, and he had a lot of connections with a lot of other black heroes
Mm-hmm.
during his time and his age. So unfortunately, his in his prime years, he spent in prison with being experimented on and all this other stuff because of what he did to save other people and how he did it, which is unfortunate. But again, you mentioned government, and throughout this, it shows you the different levels that a government will go to in order to sustain whatever. It's from John Walker, so they're not calling him what you call him. And then from Sam with the shield,
Right.
and then from Isaiah Bradley. But I like how the fact they've done it from two spectrums from an African American view.
Right.
And I looked at Sam once he gave the shield up because he understood there's a great amount of responsibility and pressure when it comes to that shield.
Yeah.
And even when people, when they did, in game and all this other stuff, it was, it's always been mixed. Even with the comic book, it's always been a mixed thing to see a black hero with the American shield, with Captain Shield.
Yeah.
So and so it touched all those places that people really didn't want to discuss and talk about. And then I appreciate the development of Sam Wilson in this one. Or as his nephews call him, Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I love the independent strength that he gained, and for people that were not sure about what could he fit the role as Cap, this series planted that perfectly because I love the development, and you get to build a different rapport with, not a sidekick anymore.
Right.
He wasn't, on your left. Every time I see him, I think about on your left.
Yeah.
That's my right, but on my left. So I think all of that is significant, and I didn't want to jump the ship, but I did want to take the time to appreciate how they allowed the characters to develop, and then to show the individuality, and then actually, here it is to show Sam's struggle with
Right.
with that shield of the contemplation of keeping it and giving it up, and you don't have to hear it out of his mouth to see it in his face. Anthony
Yeah.
Mackie did an amazing job performing in this series. I just hate it short, but it does show he is. I don't know what that. I'm gonna tell you right now. The boy good.
Oh yeah.
The boy good. The boy gifted. So awesome job. But I do love the writers and how they allow Bucky to gain his identity, and for Sam to stand in his own truth. And that's the thing about that shield. If you can't stand in your own truth, you can't be that position. You can't stand in that position. And that was the struggle for Great Value. I'm only saying that once.
Hey, come
I'm
on.
not saying it once. This is not an amen. You did not do that. We're not going through them steps. No. But it did show the diversity between the two. And I was so into every component of it because you got to be, if you're a true fan of it, and just to see that. I think how whenever they started this whole Disney Plus theme and decided to break these individuals down, I think this one, what the other one watch? Wanda
One
Vision.
division, yes, sir. That would be it.
This one, gang. This is fire. This is fire. This one is fire.
I
So
got you. Yeah.
yeah. But go ahead. But I just wanted to definitely bring out that point. There's multiple pieces when it comes to the piece that Isaiah played, and then I love it that they didn't one dimension him one time when he had to quit. Love that.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the conversation they had near the end because it really highlighted the struggle that I kind of want to touch on in depth. Okay, so episode 3, I got 2 words for you: Baron Zemo.
Dancing.
That was kind of out of left field. I was like, oh, so you just dancing all by yourself in the club, huh? When in
All
Rome,
day,
huh?
all day, all day. I love it. I love it. I love it. I mean, the awesomeness about the MCU is that they finally give you an opportunity for characters to be live and you to
Yeah,
actually see, and I'm telling you, they picked some awesome people to do some great stuff when it came to
absolutely.
these particular roles that they picked. I mean,
The only thing with Baron Zemo that I was disappointed in is that he only wore his face mask for like a minute.
right.
I was like, you in all the promos you see the purple mask, and so you like, okay, yes, you're gonna get to see him for an extended period of time. Nah, he put it on just long enough to kill a couple of folk. That was it.
Well, they did show just about his character and his capability
True.
and his savvy in the underworld. Again, everybody played their part to where they needed to play it in for those that no offense to anybody, but those that are just surface with particular things, and you just wanted to see something. They gave you what you wanted, but they also developed and they kept going with because Zemo didn't want nobody to be a super soldier. He was
Nobody.
determined to knock all that out. And so, by any means necessary, after he accomplished his goal, he was good. He was ready to go. He was straight.
Absolutely.
So, I just think, again, the character development in all of these joints, Sharon Carter, still waiting.
So the actress that plays Sharon Carter, I believe her name is like Emily Van Zant or something. Um, she is a great physical actor. She was in like this show called
Residence.
Revenge, I
Residence.
think.
She's in a show called Resident
Is she
right now.
right
She
now?
is right now. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I was watching the Resident so much, I didn't realize it was her. And I looked at it and I'm like, what? Yeah.
She's a
So,
bad woman, man.
but in the Resident, she's a total. You would never think it's the same woman, but she fired though. And in
They
that one,
they amped her character up like 200% in this particular series, to the point to where you're not even really sure right now what side she on.
yeah,
And hopefully we get an answer to that in episode 6. Um, so during episode 3, Baron Zemo talks about how um, we put people on pedestals and we ignore their flaws, right? We see it, but we don't even um, recognize it, call it to be true, because by us putting this person on a pedestal, we like the clean version of people versus the real, the reality of people. And so he says, whenever you do that, pedestals are always going to fall. You will, anytime you lift anybody up, that fall coming down is always 2 times as worse. Um, And so, man, it's like his character really kind of exposes the idol culture, not just of superheroes, but of what we have in real life.
Yeah. Um, he did to a point. But again, like I said before, character versus symbol, like you mentioned earlier before, we know we do have that wonderful thing that we like to put people. There's another thing that he mentioned, and I was trying to find it about the super soldier serum. And I think it was Battle uh I done lost the name of, his the
Battlestar.
Battlestorm. Yeah. Because John was no, that was episode 4 or 5. That was four.
Right.
That was four. So
Yeah.
you want me
So,
to wait? You want me to wait? I
yeah.
don't want to. Okay, go ahead. Because I
Yeah.
won't.
Because that was my favorite episode. Um.
Four.
Yes, I loved it. I loved it from beginning to end. I loved it.
I love the first fight scene they had on top of the
On top of
on
what?
top
I'm waiting to
on the
hear what you got
18
for it.
wheeler on top of
That
the
was
18.
nice.
That was nice. Are you for real, kid?
So
Every
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Go no go.
So it's not that I didn't like it, but as far as if I had to compare the fights in this movie, the in episode 4, when the Dora um now I can't pronounce their name, Dora Milaje,
Hmm.
when they walked up in there and smacked Great Value Cap upside the wall, bruh, listen, I
That's just
yelled.
great value cap, dog. For real.
I yelled. I was like, yes, sir. Pop pop 2 times for real.
Really?
Yes, sir.
They
Because
did do.
we know how, bad those women are, right? Like we know that you do not mess with them. And Great Value just
Yeah.
he gonna come and be like, hey, let's talk about this, and then the man gonna insult the weapons by calling it a pointy stick. Yeah, you deserve to get everything you got.
And they handled him too. And then
Listen.
and it continued to show his delicate psyche was continuing to break under pressure. The
Mm-hmm.
pressure, the pressure, the pressure. And so it's I think that was the final straw.
Oh yeah,
After that, that
the
was the final straw
critical
after that.
like that part changed everything.
Because he was already mentally getting worn down. And you could tell, when they had the meeting with the Flag Smashers. Well, they
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't. Sam was, and he bust in,
Yeah,
already talking to himself, sounding Looney Tune. Again, they were showing the shift in his breakdown. It took a lot of time to show the breakdown more of him. And for those couple of episodes that he was, I'm not gonna say couple because he's still a part of it. Um, but I just think then when he had the conversation with Battlestar at the table in the mall or whatever, and he
mm-hmm.
asked about the super soldier serum after he only found one vial that was left. And then and this goes back to what you said about metals and all this other stuff about, platforms that we put people on.
Yeah,
Battlestar says, shouldn't it make you more of you or stronger you?
yeah,
So it just showed that it actually strengthens the weaknesses of an individual in more ways than one. Physically, mentally, emotionally, it created a more unstable individual, just made him stronger and not 100% of the brain. So all of that again shows the definite change. And here it is. Sam had that shield and never felt like John did. Sam never responded like John did. And from just my opinion, I think Sam gave that shield away because he knew parts of him wasn't secure in doing that yet.
hmm.
And that's so with great power, comes great responsibility. He took it to a level where that's a powerful, the symbol itself, and we go back to that again, speaks, it's powerful for that shield to be on somebody's arm and flying through the air and hitting whatever it hits, as you're running through the streets, as you're fighting weapons. I mean, if you're fighting villains, that symbol is everywhere.
Yeah,
And here it is, to be able to stand up to his own truth and able to stand with that shield. So, because, the original Cap had the ability because he always was a pure-hearted individual. Even when before the super soldier serum got into it,
absolutely.
Sam still had, personal life that he didn't. Cap didn't have anything. Sam had other pieces that he was still trying to develop and hang on to. And then he seen the need of his family versus that shield. And he took it and it's like, this is what value was more to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's at home, and it's when his sisters call him and shifted all in energy, and he's like, "Oh, I can't believe this," and it's like, "What you gonna do?" And so I think that kicked him into a whole nother gear. But the journey, and then the Flag Smasher, so it's a combination of the two. So I just think Flag Smashers and the shield being given away by the government kind of he needed the path. If you can see the development, he needed the path. He needed some of these things to happen in order for him to be solid on getting to episode 5, which was fire. So I want to skip nothing
Yeah.
else, but go ahead.
So the actual quote that Battlestar says, it says, "Power just makes a person more of themselves."
Right.
Right, and you can apply that to really anything in life. So um, you see a lot of people whenever they win the lottery, right? They have now access to all of this money that they didn't have prior to, and then a year later they broke. You're trying to figure
Right.
out, how is it that you have now access to way more, but the internal character of not having discipline, not knowing how to budget, and all of this stuff. That's why it's very vital that you're honest with who you really are, not who you think you are. And you
Right.
hear throughout, I think episode 4 and especially episode 5, um, Great Value was saying, "I am Captain America.
Right.
I
Repeatedly
am." It's almost like he was trying to convince himself,
himself. He
right?
was.
Whereas Sam respected the symbolism and was honest with himself and say, "I'm not ready right now," right? And so, like you mentioned, it's a level of just kind of growing up. Like
Right.
whenever that I may have this mantle, but I know that right now I'm not ready to handle the responsibility versus wanting a symbol without understanding the responsibility required to uphold this symbol. Because I think Great Value just wanted the name. Now, it's crazy because at the beginning, again, episode 2, you kind of was thinking, okay, maybe he won't be so bad. But scene by scene, you see him struggle with authority, and he has this false bravado where he uses the shield as his identity, right? Versus you being the same man without the shield, right? And so, and then it finally culminates at the very, very end of episode 4, after his moral compass, Battlestar. Once Battlestar is dead, then he has nobody that can keep him straight, and he just snaps.
Oh, he did more than snap, player.
Listen,
He broke in half, three speed. He was 3 pieces. He was 3 piece in a biscuit pimping. He was split more ways than one. Without the pepper and the
yeah,
strawberry drink, he was gone. He was significantly gone. I want to make this point before I forget. Old Cap at the end at the end of M games saw who Sam could be with the shield.
yep,
Sam didn't see who he could be with the shield. Old Cap saw what he needed to see in Sam to be comfortable enough to pass that shield on to him and not to Bucky
absolutely,
because of Sam's strength and the personality and character, all the internal things that make him a hero, had nothing to do with an ability. So, and I just realized that, but here it is. Sam didn't see himself like that.
Yeah.
And it took things to happen for him to have his own, and then his conversations with, and we finna get into it because you're already in the three into, I mean, to four, so in the
Yeah,
five,
I mean, the
when he
five.
had that conversation with Isaiah, and Isaiah was so bitter and so angry and resentful and, ready to just downplay everything possible. And black man is never going to have that shield, and, which is significant because it showed about the mentality of an actual true struggle. And it's not in a comic book. That is actual
That's
reality.
real life, bro.
Bringing trauma from a place and trying to implant that trauma in somebody else, and then it almost become believable because you got evidence of the struggle of our people, of what happened, of what took place. You got an example of what happens with the government when they want to have their way with you. You had all of these things, including his indecisiveness with the shield and giving it up. And even in his speech, he was reluctant. You could see it in his face. There was no certainty. All of that shifted to us developing him finally getting to the place um, of having that shield. And the way he got that shield,
Right.
that fight, boy, that fight in the beginning of episode 5, let me tell
Yeah.
you something. I rewound that bad boy at least twice because it was good. It was
It
good to the
was.
last drop. It was fire. I like the combination of him and Bucky working together. And I never knew. I mean, Sam is in for have him in the Falcons in the Falcon wings to be able to manipulate that bad boy, how he doing, flipping, spinning, turning, and all this other stuff. That's an
Right.
agile brother. Whoever was the actor in that bad boy, whatever strings they had on it, did a
Right.
phenomenal job. But that fight showed him. Bucky did all the talking while Sam like he just followed the lead of Bucky because he said, "Yeah, we're gonna do this." So I thought it
Yeah.
was fire though. But to see that Sam asked for the shield, John lost it. Bucky was ready for it.
Yeah.
But to see the combination of how hard once them wings got snapped off the back, and bruh, I thought he was done.
Me too.
I thought he was done. But again, it's a testament to the heart of Sam Wilson. Again, he wasn't hollering about I'm Cap. I need the shield to be Cap.
Yeah, man.
He was simply being himself, and in himself, he was fighting to the bitter end to salvage something that still was valuable. Because once he got it, what did he do? Start to wipe the blood off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boy,
Absolutely.
telling you, man,
Absolutely.
boy, there's some good stuff in it. So I know when we finish, I'm gonna go watch it again.
So, let's see. Yeah, so we talked about the conversation between Isaiah and Sam, and
Yeah,
one of the things that struck me the most was that their ideals and their experiences really mirror the African American male in society, right? You have one person who has endured nothing but trauma, nothing but negativity, and so you have this jaded point of view toward anything government related. You have this other person who has, experienced some level of success working with authorities, but yet there is still, you're still a black man at the end of the day. And so, one is hopeful, the other one is jaded. And many times in America, there's those two people, those who just don't care and who don't even believe in anything positive can come from authority. And then you have those who, we still live as black people in America, but there is still a sliver of hope that things can get better. Because, you hear Sam say throughout the series, hey, I can get you help. I know people, right? Um, And so I think those types of conversations are needed in our society. We need people who, those who are jaded, we can't isolate them by themselves because those are the ones that could potentially cause harm not only to themselves but to their communities. And yet, those who have hope, it's important that they are, having conversations as well because you just don't want to lose that hope. And given the circumstances over the last couple of weeks, you know, I personally have, drifted between each of those, right? But I what I love most was just the fact that there was an open conversation, and at the end of the day, Sam helped Isaiah get to the reality of what truly happened because he was like, um, you weren't in jail that entire time. You know what I'm saying? Like he kind of was able to break through to kind of get to the reality of what happened with Isaiah. So I encourage us black men to talk. Let's
Yeah.
let's try to help one another because there's always a way, there's always an answer and a way forward. But if we don't talk about it, ain't nothing gonna get done. We're just gonna keep the same cycle over and over and over again.
I think the vulnerability of sharing scares folks
Oh yeah,
to the point where it doesn't look, sound, or respond in any manly manner if we want to share, have these sharing moments. But that's why I appreciate that conversation that Sam and Bucky had in the backyard, which was exceptionally pivotal because
yeah,
Sam never said it, but Bucky did, for a black man to have that shield, which was significant. And it does show that there are relationships that can be cultivated
yeah,
in multiple ways because Sam gave Bucky truth and Bucky gave Sam truth. And after that conversation, Bucky, and I never want to leave that part out. Bucky began to learn that he needed to formulate his own identity, but simply because everybody else told him what to do. And he says, basically now's your time to find your identity, to gain
right,
that, to be your own individual. And and then and then Bucky in some ways told Sam, it's your time, man.
yeah,
It's your time. It's your time. And then to see him hand off the shield to Sam signified that transfer. It was two transfers. And
mm-hmm.
if you pay attention, it was from Sam. I mean, it was from old Cap or Captain America, however you want to his best friend, to his other best friend. So the whole it from the hand carry to the hand carry. And if you paid attention from end game, it was a straight zoom to the shield and to
Right,
the transfer of the responsibility, and then to allow Bucky when they're playing back and forth with the shield, and then the shield to be transferred to Sam, and Sam actually, and it's not like he had the power gauntlet with all the Infinity Stones on it, but it was almost like a transfer of power.
yeah,
And then they, of course, in their usual ending, they never could solidify what they call each other, co-workers,
oh yeah, for
which
sure,
which I thought
partners,
was which I think was brilliant. I mean, it's and then they had their own heart to heart moments
yeah,
and on the boat, so it showed Bucky's ability to pull out of his trauma and to be a personal individual, and then Sam being strong enough to share how he felt and being able to be receptive to that, and then having a conversation with his sister, and becoming who he needed to become, and not allowing again what Isaiah said or what the government did or how Walker mistreated the shield. He didn't think about the stigma that was going to be on the shield because Walker had it. He didn't think about none of that.
right,
He focused on his own personal and became who he needed to become. So I am significantly waiting to see the whole new suit. They need to hurry up with this last episode because I was about to find something because I
yeah,
want to see everything because I didn't got it's got a couple of different versions and I want to see what version they're gonna pull out of that Wakanda suitcase and give him a
yeah.
whole new everything.
So let's give some predictions about what we think is going to happen at for episode 6. A couple of things I wanted to kind of bring up. So, was anybody else surprised whenever um, Julia Louis Dreyfus just showed up
Madam Hydra,
at the court date?
Madam Hydra.
I was like, wait, what's going on
It's
now?
finna be on and popping on the last one.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So we'll figure out maybe not all of her role, but just a small snippet of her involvement. We see at the end credit scene where Great Value has completely lost his mind. He taking the ideal of Great Value Cap to the nth degree by creating his own Great Value shield, right? And so we gonna see what he gonna do with that.
I'm gonna pray your strength in the Lord. Leave that man alone. He was playing a role. You almost act like them people did Tyreek, and I'm mad. I didn't.
And his role was to be Great Value Cap. He just didn't read the full script.
That was not in the script. That man's name was not Great Value Cap. Because you can't have no Great Value Cap. You can have a cap. You can't have a Great Value Cap because there's no such thing.
Imitation.
There you go. I like that right there. Yeah.
Imitation ain't nothing but great value. You got the regular brand, and then you got the Walmart brand.
I'm not even finna. I'm not even finna go that way. I'm not doing that with you. But I am really, really interested to see what's gonna pop off. But predictions, I think all of them gonna come to head at the same time. The Flag Smashers. Hopefully, we get a glimpse of the Power Broker.
Come on,
one way or the other. Episodes. So maybe we get to see all of that. Come together. And I'm looking forward to it. But I know it's coming, and I know. When Sam eyes got big as $2 when he opened up that case from Wakanda, I'm just itching to see. Boy, put the suit on. I was so mad when they wait till his eyes get big as $2 bills, and then you're gonna close it off. I'm like, are you serious? Oh, yeah. I was warm. I was a little warm. I was just a little warm, but just a little warm. But again, the anticipation, love it. It wouldn't be Marvel if it didn't keep you on the end of your seat at the end credits well before. So I'm just expecting a lot of things to pop out. Hopefully we get to have another season of this because I think they can do a great deal with. And I hate why did they shorten this for this season? But when they did all the episodes of One and Vision, they could have shortened One and Vision.
So here's what I think.
What up?
I think because of the pandemic, WandaVision wasn't supposed to come out first. And so I believe that with the storyline of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they had to make adjustments. Because I read somewhere where initially there was a vaccine or a virus type of a storyline initially that was going to be like the worldwide issue. So obviously they had to change that due to Corona. But yeah, man, like I'm really, really looking forward to it. And just like you said, after episode 6, I hope that we don't have to wait too long for the second half of the first season or season number 2, however they do it. But yeah, man, I enjoyed this. It was a return back to the MCU form that we're all used to.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. They were never slow parts. They were just very detailed parts. Which I appreciate all of the above. So man, I'm excited about it. So yeah. So look forward to it. Stop calling that man Great Value Cap. Stop calling that man Great Value Cap.
All right, so thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. You met somebody that you ain't never met before. Great Value Cap. You're gonna be talking about that the rest of the week.
That's jacked up. Hashtag I'm not doing it. Not even going there with you.
If you have enjoyed this episode, please make sure that you go to podchaser.com and leave us a positive review. Let us know how we are doing, whether or not you think Great Value Cap is going to stick. And also, this particular episode is found everywhere podcasts are available. So please make sure that you download, share, and let the people know about this particular podcast. So, on behalf of my host, DT, I am your host, Brian. You guys have a great rest of your evening.
No value cap. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't put that out there. Y'all have a
Great
good one.
value is better
No
than
great
government
value cap.
cheese. Bye, y'all.